Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs, and I'm also a legal document assistant, LDA, based in the greater Los Angeles area. This is Step 2 Tuesdays, where we talk about Step 2 of your divorce. And Step 2 is all about the money, baby. It's what you owe and own. And this is the part that tricks up everyone. Or is it trips up everyone? I think I'm tired. I've been making a lot of mistakes. Anyway, this is a step that causes people to stumble, and it causes delays. All right, let's get you past that. So this is stay in control, steps to take when your spouse won't complete their disclosures. So let's understand the role of financial disclosures in your divorce. Not every county in California requires that you both complete and file your financial disclosures, but LA County does. Now, every county requires if you file a response, you also have to do your financial disclosures. But LA County is like, it doesn't matter. Someone filed a petition, both y'all got to do step 2. And there's good reason for that. A lot of times one spouse does all of the money stuff and the other spouse is in the dark. How can you make a fair and equitable settlement if you don't even know what there is? There needs to be disclosure of this information. Hopefully it's not a surprise to you, but if it is, this is the time to deal with it. This is the time for the surprises to come out. You need to know. You got to have your eyes wide open going into divorce. So you're looking at all of your assets and debts. Like I said, everything you owe and own. Even like, I have this inheritance. I won the lottery. After the date of separation, I have a partial ownership in a company. You got to disclose that. Even your secret bank accounts. Okay. So there are 4 forms that are required for step 2, 140, 141, 142, 150. But the ones that trip up people are 142, your schedule of assets and debts, and 150, income and expense report. And it's really the 142 because you're like, First of all, I don't want to look at how much money I owe people. I don't want to think about that. Secondly, I got to gather a lot of paperwork and exchange this paperwork. I exchange all the statements and stuff. I just would rather not do it. I understand that. But here's the deal. You have 60 days from the date the petition was filed to file your financial disclosures. Not from the date you were served, but from where that stamp is, where you get the first case number. They've stamped it with a day. The clerk stamps it and has a date on it. That date, 60 days from that date. Now, usually nothing bad's going to happen to you if you don't do it in 60 days, but 60 days is a long time to get stuff done. 60 days is a long time to get stuff done. So what are some steps you can take if your spouse is slow or they just won't do their financial disclosures? This is a tactic that people use all of the time to delay divorce because they might want to wait for you to spend all your money, and so you're just too exhausted to fight them in court. You know how I feel about fighting them in court, but if somebody, they're playing dirty but not doing that. Let's hope that's not the situation. But if you suspect, hey, this is taking an awful long time, why come you not do this yet? Here are some things. Remind them there are 60 days. Do you need support? Do you have the forms? Have you gone to self-help desk? Now, some people would say that's enabling. Maybe, but do you want to get divorced or not? You got to do this step. Encourage them, like, can you set a deadline? When do you think this is going to be done? Next week? Next month? When is this going to be done? I mean, you can set all the deadlines you want for them. They're not going to get, they don't care about your deadlines. So encourage them to set the deadlines. When it comes out of their mouth, they're more likely to do it. Every time you ask them about their disclosures, have it in writing somewhere, either a text, email is better. That way, if you have to go to court, you can have a documentation. It might not get to that, but you can at least say, Your Honor, here are all of the times I've attempted to get this person to do this and they still have not done it. The other thing, if you're working with a legal document system, I swear, even though people like hire me to work with them, sometimes people don't want to do this step. But remember how I'm the go-to mediator for people navigating divorce with special needs children? You know that I was a teacher too. And one of the things I recognize about divorce is it is paperwork heavy. There is a lot of small print and a lot of words and a lot of things not in normal English. If you have a learning difference and you are faced with a mountain of paperwork, oh, and wait, you want me to gather more paperwork and more statements? I just can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. I recognize that. That happens. This is when you need to talk to your legal document assistant and be like, I'm trying to do this. I can't seem to get it done. Every time I sit down and start, I get overwhelmed. Can you walk me through this? Can we meet? Hopefully they'll say yes. I'll meet with you. We'll get on a Zoom. We'll go through the form. What are we putting for this? What are we putting for this? Do you have this? Go find your statement. We got time. Let's go. And we work through this. Okay. You came up with a few other things. You just don't know what they are. Okay. I'll make a note of it. You go look for them, and then I'll finish your forms. So send it to me by next week. Some people do better auditorially than visually. And if reading is not your thing, if you're not necessarily a visual learner, you may need somebody to walk you through the forms. That's called an accommodation. And if you can get an accommodation to complete your financial disclosures, good for you. That is smart because you're moving towards your deadline. So ask. I need help completing this. I'm not a pencil paper person. This doesn't make sense to me. Can you talk me through it and write down my answers? Yes, yes, yes. That might be the thing that solves this for you. That might be the thing that solves this for you. So if they're taking their own sweet time, consider that it could be a different factor. Maybe it's not stubbornness. Maybe they're not trying to get one off on you or get one over on you. Maybe they just need an accommodation and they don't know how to ask for it yet. So if you've done all these things and they still haven't, this is when I want you to seek some legal advice. You've made requests. You suggested they get some help filling out the forms and they still have done nothing. This is when you need to go get some legal advice so that you can get advice on what you need to file in court to have a motion to compel, so you can have some support if you need to go to the judge and ask the judge to force your spouse to complete their disclosures and request any sanctions against them. And the judge will most likely do that, but it doesn't mean your spouse is going to comply. I know a lady who, she finally just had the court bifurcate her divorce. She didn't have an attorney. Her spouse had an attorney. He just never got to his disclosures. The lawyer, for some reason, never got to his disclosures. It doesn't make no sense. I've seen something else where someone will lie on their disclosures and pretend like they make no money. You might need to think about talking to a lawyer too, if that's your situation. So, let's say you get them to complete their disclosures. Yay, hooray. So how do you have a fair settlement if you don't have an attorney involved? Oh no, you need to have an attorney involved at the end or as you are negotiating. But they don't need to be in the room and you don't need to retain an attorney. You want to be organized. Think about, use your disclosures to help you organize your discussions of everything. We've got to make sure everything on this list is accounted for. You want to be organized about everything you want, everything you don't want, all the things that are important that need to be talked about so nothing is forgotten. Keep a little notebook by you or use your phone and take notes as things crop up. That way you have a good solid list. Think about asking questions at the self-help desk. If you're doing this all by yourself, go down to your courthouse. They have wonderful people working that desk. They can answer your questions. Think about, too, working with a certified divorce financial analyst in conjunction with working with a mediator so they can really help you understand your financial situation and what the implications of your proposed settlement may be. And lastly, then consult with an attorney and have them look at it as your advocate. They only have eyes for you. They only have eyes for you. They ain't thinking about your spouse. They ain't thinking about what's fair and equitable. They're thinking about you. Is this a good agreement or not? Will it work for you? This is also, though, they're not like, you should just take it all. Let's take them to the cleaners. No. This is why you go to a consulting attorney. But that's the step you need to do. Once you have an agreement, before you sign everything, have some legal eyes look at it for you to make sure you're protected. Be persistent. Be encouraging. Do not give up hope. You will get this divorce done, and it's going to feel so good. Have a great Tuesday.